Good evening and welcome. My name is Alan Nelson. I'm on the board of directors with Destination Southwest Nova, and I'm the vice president. Thank you for taking the time this evening to come out to attend this important session and for your involvement in reshaping our industry for 2014. Destination Southwest Nova Association exists so that tourism is a viable and sustainable industry here at Southwest Nova Scotia. On behalf of the tourism industry in the region, I would like to acknowledge and recognize our investment partners, the Nova Scotia Tourism Agency, Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency, Region of Queens Municipality, and Shelburne County Tourism Association for making this market readiness assessment for Queens and Shelburne counties possible. At the present time, I'd like to just recognize the ones from the Nova Scotia Tourism Agency that are here. Darlene McDonald, and make the session. Kelly McDonald, Jim Jarden, Nick Fry, and Sarah Hammerberry. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Nothing great is ever achieved without enthusiasm." Roger Brooks lives by this by this motto. For more than 30 years, he has helped transform ordinary places into extraordinary destinations. He's worked with 1,000 communities around the world, guided them in their building, marketing, and product development efforts. Author of the book, Your Town and Destination, and a U.S. Travel Association board member, Roger is a well-known thought leader and change agent. Energizing communities into action, he's all about making something happen. Here to share his enthusiasm with us, please welcome Roger Brooks, CEO of Roger Brooks International.
So you ready for some fun?
Yes.
I'm going to have to go fast. It's going to be fairly fast paced, and I've spent the last 8 years secret shopping Nova Scotia. And I think I've been down every single shoreline in the entire province, including all the peninsulas in your area. And a lot of them we thought were spectacular. A lot of them I thought, why did we do that? And it wasn't that they were bad, it's just that there was no place to spend money or time. And so we're going to have fun. And what we've done is gone through this assessment process. I was here in July with my wife, and the reason is women account for most spending and most decisions when it comes to travel, okay, or anything else. And so we looked at all these different things that are here, but what I'm going to really concentrate is what we saw when we got here. And so we're going to look at all these things. As a matter of fact, when I was here, secret shopping you in July, we spent 5 days on the South Shore. We went through 60 items, and don't panic, I'm not going to go through all those today. But we did look at all these different things, business operating hours, customer service, all of this stuff. And when we get back, as a matter of fact, we're already working on these in our office. It's an assessment findings and suggestions report. So we will get you this, plus it's being filmed. Did that ever pick up from here?
We're hearing you.
You're hearing me that way.
We're hearing you, yeah.
I'm loud too. And so we're going to get you this. And by the way, these are suggestions. There's no recommendations because we did not talk to Southwest Nova Scotia first. We did not talk to Nova Scotia Tourism. We just came in as a visitor. So we just saw what you saw. We came just like anybody else would come. And that's what we did. And, I think it's time to start ditching the geography. One thing that drives us crazy as visitors is this Eastern Shore, Southwest Shore, South Shore, North, at least they added Cumberland on it. And so we have all of these things, and of course Cape Breton, even Cape Breton, I go, well, we really have a lower and an upper Cape Breton. I don't know what we're going to call it, but the Sydney experience is different than the Cayley and Cabot trip. See what I mean? And so part of the problem is all this stuff means nothing to a visitor. And I'm going to tell you more about that. And so here is our experience on the South Shore. And by the way, we did use this main map. And this is Shelburne County, and one thing I will tell you right away, and I don't think I brought them with me, but you know what? We saw 2 visitors guides, one for Shelburne County and one for, what's the other county? Queens County. And you know what we did? We set them aside. Visitors could care less about county or municipal lines. Stop it already. Have you ever gone anywhere and said, whoa, there's the town, there's the county line, turn around quick? We don't. What we want is the whole experience and not a bunch of, well, you know, and I just did this morning in Blue Nose Coast. They have a great Blue Nose Coast map, but then Lunenburg Municipality decided they had to have one too. And you know what? We're not going to use that one. We're going to use one that sells the broader experience. And so we use this one primarily, and I don't know if it goes, does it go all the way to Liverpool? This is the primary one we used. And so, you know, it had good things on there, Clyde River area, Barrington, you know, and it might not have had all the way to Liverpool on there, did it? No. But this is the problem. We're going, man, you're going to make this go have 6 brochures and 2 guides. So we did use the Southwest Shore, the South Shore Guide is the main thing we use this one. So we tried to use this one. And it does have a map in it, but it's a little bit small. We wish we had a nice larger one. So that was our primary guides. And by the way, we picked up all this stuff. And these are the ones that we have Discover Shelburne County, Explore Queens County. You know, we're going, we don't want a whole bunch of different guides. We want one. And so even though we had all this, look at all the money that's spent doing all these brochures. And you know what? The last thing people want is to be in their car with 30 different brochures scattered everywhere trying to figure out what to do. And I don't want to squash anybody's, you know, these are people trying to make a livelihood. They're selling advertising. But as a visitor, we want it to be simpler and easier. And so we did see all this stuff. We also saw this map here. You know, and one of the challenges that we have with the Acadian Shore, so this has got that area, and I'll be talking to them tomorrow morning. But a lot of times what happens is in a lot of these guides stuff, you have just lists. I don't want a list of restaurants. I want to know which one's the best one. See what I mean? I want to know which one is really good. And so those are the challenge. So on day 1, we really started kind of in La Have, that area, Petit Riviere area, came across the ferry, and we said, okay, we're going to start at Port Medway. By the way, chances are pretty good that I'm going to bend some feelings tonight. But everything I'm going to give you is an honest opinion from an outside visitor. So I want you to take it as constructive. Because if somebody came and said, oh, you guys are so wonderful, just keep doing what you're doing, you know what, someday somebody's going to say, well, how's that working for you? And so that's what it's about. So here's what we did. So we came down, I think this is La Have right here. We came all the way down, we followed all this, we tried to, you know, in all my times to Nova Scotia, I've avoided 103, 102, 104, 105, whatever they all are all over the province. I think people that cruise right down through the center of the province are really missing what's special about Nova Scotia, period. And so we hugged the coastline as close as we could. So we made this whole trek. Of course, sometimes we had no choice. And we get down in these areas, and I saw this East Berlin, and we said, well, we're going to have to check out East Berlin, see what it's like. Or do you pronounce it Berlin? Berlin? Whatever. And so we saw this in 2 ways, and so we're looking around. Then we saw this. We thought, that is amazing signage. I mean, Port Medway Lighthouse, straight ahead, beach, meadows, beach, shopping, museums, and restaurants. We couldn't wait. We assumed that this was going to be like Lunenburg or Mahone Bay. Well, look at it. What would you think if you're a visitor? You're jumping ahead of me now. And so I thought it was a great sign. And then we see Port Medway. So, okay, now we're in Port Medway. And then right down here, we drive like this far, and all of a sudden we found out, no, wait a second, I guess we're not in Port Medway. We still got 2 clicks to go. And so then we drive, you know, right here another 500 feet or so, and all of a sudden now we are in Port Medway. So we have no clue where it really starts. And probably not a big deal. We see Lighthouse Park, Medway Head Lighthouse, Old Meeting House, Old Cemetery. Thought that was great. Nice sign there. And we did come in and see this. Now, this is the first business we came to, and I cannot tell if it's in business or out of business. I cannot tell whether it's open or closed. And the reason is you got all the plastic in the windows. It's what's usually what you do when you're out of business and you want to screen the window so nobody can see in. Mm-hmm. And so our assumption is that it is out of business. Is it?
No.
There's not a stick of landscaping. There's nothing, I don't even see like a neon sign that says open, I see nothing. There's no cars parked there that I can see. So you have to understand, from a visitor, we do the mean thing. If it's not obvious, we say next, and we're gone. It's all, it is for sale. When you see for sale, what do you think? So it's becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so we did see that. And so there you go. We moved to the glass in the window. I mean, tell us that you're alive. We did find the Port Midway Lighthouse. Thought it was stunning. Really pretty. Nice little place. You can use some paint, but you know, that happens in Nova Scotia. And so we spent a little bit of time there, checked it out. We loved this map, and we were wishing, I wish there was a little brochure holder that had one of these maps, you know, about this size, that we could open up and find some of these other, all these ways down here. Because even the larger maps, they don't have this kind of detail. But you don't need to create a brochure that you distribute everywhere. But if you just had a little holder right here on the sign, like where this is, and then we could just pull out a map, and we could go explore a little bit more now that we're there. And so it's just an idea. So we did see Medway Head. There's a lighthouse down there, right?
Yes.
So we started going down there, and we're going, okay, I have no idea how far this is. I don't know whether it's 3 kilometers. I don't know whether it's 30. There's no information. And so we start going down the road. And I'm going, okay, I don't know if this is such a good idea. I don't think Avis is going to appreciate the condition I'm bringing their car back in. And so we saw that, and we almost turned around. But remember, this is July, it's your peak season. If this is the way you're greeting visitors, then quit promoting it. And so we did go down there, and we did find it. You can see what the weather was like. We were right at the lighthouse. We could not see the water. And so it was really foggy. But you know what's kind of cool? It's kind of mystical. And it was pretty cool. So we did go down there. We did find it. We were going to turn around 2 or 3 times because, you know, we just weren't too sure. On the way back, we saw this. Are you familiar with this? And so, you know, and so the chair was actually tipped over, so I tipped it up, took a picture, come on down to Long Cove, Nova Scotia, visit with Eleanor, second-hand shop, museum, lots of transplants. I'm not too sure what that means. Because transplants. So I don't know if that's people that moved to Long Cove, or whether she sells plants that are, you know, I'm going, okay. And then, good place to turn around. So you know what we did is we couldn't get cell service out there, but when we could, I typed in Long Cove and I found 6 Long Coves in Nova Scotia. I have no idea where this one is. And so, and the main one was way over here by you know, over there, by Halifax. And so we had no idea. 4 Long Coves we found. So we couldn't find it because I was going to go and say, hey, way to go. Awesome job. You know, the teddy bear tree. But you know, you can promote that as one of the funky, cool things that you're going to find if you go out of your way. It's right up there with Happy Dude's Emporium on the Eastern Shore if you've ever been there. Oh man, it's really cool. So, then we started going around and said, we're going to start looking for East Berlin. Was that East Berlin? Yeah. So we're going down some of these roads, and everywhere we went, it says no exit. We go down another road, and there's no exit. And we're trying to figure out where the heck we are. We come to this intersection. It says East Berlin right there, and then there's another one. And then, you know, we go down here. We never found anything. We don't know if there is a town, if this is the town right here. So we're going, okay, so much for that. And by the way, we're still trying to find that Beach Meadows downtown district. This is our introduction to the South Shore. And so we're doing this, and then, there's another sign! Woo-hoo! And so we see this, we're now 1 kilometer. Somehow we find, okay, now we're back on the lighthouse route, we found this. And by the way, the maps are not detailed to help us out of this. And navigation systems don't really help, unless you know what you're looking for. And so now we see also, we tripped on this, and there's that great sign again, and so we thought we'd check it out. And so we kept going, and this is the original sign. Oh, by the way, when we saw this sign, we said, now is this the same thing we saw in the previous sign? So I got my camera and I thumbed back through the photos and said, yep, it is the same one, Beach Meadows Beach. And so we kept going, and now on the way we did saw Art and Pottery Studio Sale open. But here's the challenge. When things tend to look like this, we were resistant and we didn't go down there. We just don't know. It did say they're open, but you know how people are. If nobody else is there, you don't know what you're getting into. We don't know what we're going to see beyond the trees. And so I really appreciate this artisan doing this and everything. We want them to succeed, but it wasn't really, they might do a second sign or cut back the shrubbery or something, or do something that just says, it's really great, keep coming. Encourage us to come down the road. And now we're only 300 years away. I can see their civilization there. Woohoo, we're going to come into another great town. And I can't wait to see all the museums, all the shops, and everything there is to do. And what the... Did we do something wrong? Because this is where it said there was nowhere else to return. And so Jane and I went back to the 3-kilometer sign, the 1-kilometer sign, the 300 meter, said there was no other road, it has to be here. So we came right here, we turned left, and that's what we saw. And we can't get there, and it says no turning area, but we turned there anyway, so send me a ticket, go ahead. And we see this gate, we don't know what's back in there, we're not really allowed to go back in there. So then we turn the other way, and this is the only thing we could find. We found a boardwalk there, and it looked kind of cool. It had a whole list of rules here and notices, and the weeds are starting to come through it and everything. And so, so what's the story? Was there used to be a town there and it disappeared? Does anybody know? What is that all about? I'm waiting. We got the beach. I'm looking for all the shops, museums, and restaurants. We were hungry. So you know what you need to do? You need to go back and take down all the signs. Don't sell a bill of goods. I don't know why those signs are up. I don't know, did somebody just put up some tents or something? I mean, I don't, where were the museums? Where were the shops? Where were the restaurants? Oh, if you went to Liverpool, it says Beach Meadows. There was nothing that said Liverpool. Had no clue. But that's what I'm talking about. It said Beach Meadows, shops, restaurants, museums. We followed the signs there, and that's what we get. Think like a visitor. So then we finally, after that, we then, okay, enough of that. We did go see Brooklyn, Liverpool, and so we drove down, we did drive down there. And then we decided to come, and by the way, we followed the shoreline. As much as we could, we kept following the shoreline all the way around, zigzagging. We did see Brooklyn right here. And so there you go. And so we just kept following it. And the first experience, yeah, computer work. There we go. We did, no, it's not going to cooperate with me. We did see the factory there, and I understand somebody said, yeah, they shut it down. And just so you know, that's something that's happening not just in Nova Scotia, it's happening across Canada and across the United States. The Industrial Revolution is over. And communities everywhere were looking for their second act. What do we want to be known for next? And so that was, we thought, wow, what a great spot. By the way, this was beautiful. We just thought, wow, that'd be a great place for visitor information. You know, here in the Brooklyn side, that might have a little something in the gazebo there that might say, welcome to the Liverpool, Brooklyn area. But just a beautiful, stunning little spot. So we had a good first impression. And so that's great. We did see the bridge going over into Liverpool there, and that looked fine. And we did see this, and we thought, wow, this looks like a great community asset. And I'm not, is it like a civic center or a rec center? Or, yeah, it looks really fabulous. And then, of course, we stayed at the Best Western right there, by the way. When we did this, that's where we stayed. So we stayed right there, and then we went out from there. And by the reason we stayed there is because it had the highest reviews on TripAdvisor. I'm just letting you know, that's why people pick places. And so we did go into the Visitor Information Center. They were very friendly. They were great to work with. But one thing you need to do is Visitor Information Center should be working 24/7, 365 days a year. That does not mean you have to have staff in there during those hours. What it means is that, like, wouldn't this be cool if you do this? You take that gazebo and you build this little thing in here. This happens to be in a little place in Nevada. But what they did is they bought a kit gazebo, and then they had a local craftsperson for $3,500 build this, got maps of the area, and then wrapped all the way around. It's brochures from different restaurants, attractions, museums, and everything. And so that's what you should do. So when we come into the area, you've got that there. You know, they did this in Banff. I thought this was really cool. These are $1,700, and they just bring them out during the summer season. You know, when people are there. It's just portable. Notice it's PVC, and it's got little wheels on it. This here was $1,700. And it's got the covering, so at night they can just put the, so anything that gives us visitor information. It can be as simple as this. So right outside your visitor information center in Liverpool, you got just this is like a little real estate holder. Anything, so that we have it working for us. And that was in the Bruce Peninsula, Ontario. This is in Mahone Bay, where they've got it on each side of the door, brochures. So always have your visitor information working for you. As simple as this, these, anything to do. This is one of my favorites. This is in North Platte, Nebraska. See this right here? They had a local craftsperson build that, and there it is. Pretty cool, huh? And you just lift it up. You can take your brochure, because now once we're in your area, we want to know what else is there to do. This is interesting. Prior to people traveling, 32% make decisions on brochures. Because they go to the internet. Number 2 is word of mouth friends. Facebook, you name it, those kinds of things. And then once we're on the road, once we're here in Nova Scotia, where's the rest of that? I know it's going to come. You know, I updated the software on this computer, and it's just weird. Once we're on the road, I think it was 81% come from brochures once we're here. Internet is a distant second. 81% use brochures once we're here to decide where we're going to eat, where we're going to go visit. So printed brochures are very important. So while we were in that area, we saw this cool little shop here, a really great little place, and we thought that was really cool, really cute. And we did see other places like Crafts, Gallery, Hostel, had a nice sign there, so I just want to let you know what we saw, but that's okay. You know, and then we kind of left that area, and we decided to explore more. So we came down, and we thought, well, while we're here, before we get into downtown Liverpool, because, you know, we spent the night there, and the next morning we're right there. And so we decided to go down to Kedgie, the national park there. And, you know, Kedgie's easier for me, so I have to say it, you know. I'm still working on Musquodobbit. See, and I know, I didn't get it right, did I? And so we did go see this, and we thought it was fabulous. As a matter of fact, if we could have spent half a day there hiking the trails and stuff easily. We didn't have the opportunity because we're busy doing assessment. But one thing that would have been really nice is if we could have got a little, for people that come in and hike this area, I guess what you have to do is take a picture of the reader board and then bring it with you so that you can see where the trails are. So when you have reader boards like this, it would be really good if you had a little brochure holder that just had that map in it. So that if we're on foot, we can go do that. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is you need to promote your anchor tenants. And we want the Blue Nose Coast section to do their anchor tenants. We want you, the South Shore, to do your anchor tenants. You always promote your best ofs. And this is really important. I mean, how many of you know what? I don't know why this is not giving me my second screens. How many of you would go to Orlando if Disney World wasn't there? Raise your hands. Boy, you're a mean bunch. Because there are 171 other attractions there. But their anchor tenant is Disney. But when you go there for Disney World, you will also go say, well, let's go Universal Studios, let's go do Wild Kingdom, you'll do many of the other ones. You always promote your anchor tenants, specifically. And there you go. So I'm going to give you one example. We're working in a little town of Alpena, Michigan. Population 10,000. And we told them, you need to promote your anchor tenants. And what they are is the very best ofs. We want to know the very best of what you have in the South Shore. The number one asked question of visitors in the world is, where's a good place to eat? Don't hand me a list. And if you ever have a visitor information center that says, we cannot give you information on specific restaurants, which I ran into 2 of them so far, then you know what? Get out of the business. And just on the East Shore. So we left there and we walked right out to Shelburne. We looked up TripAdvisor and Yelp, and that's where we went. So if you don't offer anything more in a visitor information center than what I can get online, then quit being in the visitor information business. But people want to know the best of. So what they did there, and by the way, this brochure, this is it. There's no lodging in here. It is restaurants, the best retail shops, and best activities. And I'm going to tell you how to vet these and everything, and that's what they did. In this case of Alpena, each business paid $400 for a panel. They were invited in, they were vetted, which means we checked them out, and they were invited in to pay $400 a piece. With that, they promoted the best of, and I'll show you the criteria in a minute, and hopefully it'll come up on my screen. And so we did this. They paid $400 a piece. With that, they printed 30,000. You know what they did is they mailed one to all. They have 10,000 residents there. They have about, and 30,000 in the county. They had about 7,000 households, 8,000 households, something like that. We sent this to or 6,000 households, excuse me. We sent this to every single, they sent this to every single household with a card. Here's what it said. The number one reason people travel is to visit friends and family. We hope that you will hang on to this brochure so that when friends and family visit you, you will show them the best of what the South Shore has to offer. Because we believe that every dining room table should be a concierge desk. You know, people started coming into downtowns like, their downtown, by the way, is not a whole lot different than Shelburne or Liverpool. It's struggling, and people would come downtown within days, even without friends and family in tow, and go, I got this brochure in the mail. How long have you been here? And the brochure would grit her teeth, like 10 years. Within 90 days, their hotel sales, their hotel occupancy tripled because of this brochure. Now, they only had 9 hotel rooms. No, I'm kidding. They actually had about 400. But here's the point. They were in the area. They picked up this brochure. And the reason no lodging is in here is because we want these handed out at the B&Bs, at the hotels, at your resorts. We want these handed out. And that's why they're not in there. They won't hand it out if our competitor is in there. But you know, if somebody says, where's a great restaurant? Say, well, here's the best stuff, guy. Use this. And so there is some criteria. They had to be highly regarded by 80% positive. So here's to say, they have to be highly regarded by somebody other than themselves. They had to have good curb appeal. They had to be open May through October to start. You may say year-round. I don't know. It's up to you. You do your own criteria. They had to be open at least 6 p.m. I'm going to give you a statistic right now. 70% of all consumer retail spending takes place after 6 p.m. Are you open? 70%. Here's what you have to understand. In Nova Scotia, you have a big problem. You keep promoting outdoor recreation. We do that during the day. We come back to our hotel. We come back to your town at night, and you're closed. That is where 80% of all travel spending gets spent. You want to increase, if you have your shops and restaurants and activities open later into the evenings, particularly during the summer months, particularly on the weekends, you could probably add another $1 billion a year to your tourism spending in Nova Scotia. By the way, people spend the night where there's things to do after 6 o'clock. Nobody wants to go back to the hotel room twiddling their thumbs, watching TV because there's nothing to do. And then open 6 days a week, and it has to be unique to you. So I'd make sure you do that. And I think that's really important. And so let me go back, let me go to the next slide, if it'll give me the next slide. Oh. Well, there you go. Anyway, here we go. I think it's haunted. So I want you to market your 3 to 5 best restaurants, retail shops, I don't know, and you know what, to cut away from the politics, you know, I mentioned this to the Blue Nose Coast 5 years ago. Where's Trudy? Right? Oh, there you are, right in the front row. And what got in the way? Local politics? I'm going to give you your list. I gave them their list this morning. You know what, you cannot let politics, well, you promote them, you didn't promote me, and there's nobody here in Shag Harbor that, well, I don't think that is fair. I can hear, and I know that would never happen. You cannot let local politics kill this effort. Absolutely, I put that on that list. Absolutely, it's spectacular. So there's your first one. So now we're driving and we decide, let's go down here to the next park. So we see the provincial park, so we drove all the way down there, past and went all the way down as far as we could go. I mean, I'm telling you, we're driving down every single road we can possibly discover. And we did see the little surf shop there. One suggestion for them is, I don't know what's in this, if that's a mailbox, if there's brochures in there, but all they would have to do is put a word on there like that. And I don't know if that's what that's for, but we didn't go in there because, number one, we weren't ready to surf, but I don't know whether they're open, I don't know whether they're closed, I don't know whether we can just go knock on a door, and I don't know whether it says brochures or if it's just a box for mail or something else. But if it is for brochures, see how something you can spend $20 doing that, and all of a sudden it might increase your sales. So these are the little things that you could do. So we did go to, is it Radall or Radall? Radall? Radall, okay? Take me back to my Antigonish versus Antigonish days. Beautiful park. It had public washrooms there. Once again, it has a nice map there. And once again, I wish there was a little brochure holder, even if it's just one color, you know, it's just photocopied. Something that if we're on the trails, we know where we're going, we know where the loops are, we know where the connections are, and you are here, which is great, but if we started to do all this, that would be great to know. And so we did that. That was our first day. So we did all that Port Medway and all this stuff, and we discovered this, and so then we went back to Liverpool. And so the next day we decided to go down a further way. We went down this way, and we started going down the Sable River, through the sanctuary and all of that kind of stuff. And we kept driving all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, all the way down to here. And we ended up in Lockport. Not a whole lot of spending opportunities so far on our entire route. On the way, we saw this footbridge trail parking area. We thought, well, let's go check that out. That might be kind of fun. And we could see right there, it says Sable River. There's trail parking. We never found a trail. We never found the footbridge. We don't even know where to go. We don't even know if it's open, whether it's public, whether you have to go down somebody's driveway. It was all shrubs and weeds. Is there a trail there somewhere? Is there a bridge there? Where do you go? Where is it? You have to go down somebody's driveway. See what I mean? So we parked there, we got out of the car and said, do we go up and knock on somebody's door? Is there a permission? You know, here's the thing with visitors. These days, in the world of the internet, we're very impatient. If it's not obvious, we say that one word. Next. So we left. And it might be really cool, but we can't figure it out. We don't want to intrude on somebody's private property or go to somebody's house. And there's nothing there, no information. So we might have missed something great. So we did go into Lockport. And it was a cute little town. What a great little, I mean, it was really foggy and rainy when we were there, so it wasn't great weather, but still just really nice, and there was all these people there. Now, when we came to Halifax, Avis, because I'm on the road $250 a year around a lot of Avis cars, they upgraded me into a BMW. I drove into Lockport, parked in the BMW, and my wife and I got out of the car, and there was a guy behind the car who goes, ugh. I said, Jane, you know, it's kind of a blue-collar town here, it's all right. And there's a lot of people there because it was Canada Day. They were doing a Canada Day parade. And so nice little shops like that right there, and Town Country Diner. And so we thought, well, let's go enjoy this parade, and then we'll come back and we'll get something to eat here in Lockport. Now it's, you know, we got there, it's kind of close to lunchtime. And we're walking around, and by the way, one thing is when you have boards like this, use them for crying out loud. And so, you know, I thought it was really great. And so we did see the parade, and it was really cute. Here was the problem. We saw the parade, and we're standing there enjoying it and everything, and two women came up, and they said, well, first of all, people were looking at us like, who are you guys? I mean, we really felt inconspicuous, and we were just wearing jeans, and I mean, it wasn't like we were wearing suits or anything. And they were just kind of looking at you, and they'd look at each other, and then look back at us, and we saw somebody pointing at us. And these two ladies came up to it and said, "Who are you guys?" And I said, "Well, my name's Roger, and this is Jane, and we're just checking it out." And I said, "Love the parade. It's a nice little town." She goes, "You know, this is really a community event." Seriously, this is really a community event. And I said, "Well, you don't mind having a visitor, just kind of enjoying it? I mean, we're not taking advantage of anything." And the other woman said, "Sir, this is our event. We bailed out of there and we'll never go back to Lockport." And I shouldn't say that, we probably would go back. But here's the problem. It only takes one bad apple to taint an entire town. You probably know who it is, huh? And so we thought, we just thought it was really cool and everything. And my wife, she was almost in tears. She goes, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that they don't want people to spend money here." And it is kind of its own life. It's almost like a little island, and they all know each other and everything. But it wasn't like we were in there saying, we were just standing there. And so, so we did see the little museum. I said, "Well, while we're here, let's take a few pictures and see what it is." But we were afraid to go in anything. And I know this is not the general attitude of Lockport, but that's all it takes. So think about your frontline employees and stuff wherever you're at. We did see welcome to the Crescent Beach Center information. Now, one thing is whenever you see plywood like this, you're automatically going to assume that it's closed permanently. Is it?
No.
Is it open?
There was some drastic, immediate repairs that needed.
Okay.
Okay.
And so what you probably should do is, even if you take this plywood and put on it and say, "We're open," you have to make it really obvious to visitors. We're open. And so I totally understand there. Information interpretive displays. We did see the beach, and we found 3 or 4 crescent beaches in Nova Scotia. But it was beautiful. Granted, the weather wasn't great, but we could see how beautiful it was. And then we did see the tourist bureau. Happy birthday, Canada. We were there for Canada. Did a separate open day. I thought that was great and everything. Need some paint, and of course, in here it says the famous Crescent Beach. So how is it more famous than all the other beaches?
It was on the $50 bill in 1954.
Cool. But now do people there know it?
No, we did.
It's not cool enough. We were afraid to ask somebody. I'm not even going to ask before I get shot. Yeah, that's down the road. And so we left Lockport, and by the way, we don't, but my wife said, "I'm never going back there again," and that's really sad. And but we thought it was a beautiful little town, and so, but we didn't really shop it like we normally would have, because people, I was carrying a big camera, and I think they were like, "What is this guy doing?" And that might have been part of the tip-off. They knew I was a visitor, so I was carrying this camera. So we did head down the road. So now we did Lockport. We decided to come all the way over here, up that way, and then we come down the lower Jordan Road, and we have a guy in our office named Jordan, so I was taking pictures of Jordan signs. And so we came down there, and once we got down there, we started coming, we came all the way, we went down every peninsula. And so we came all the way down and then back up, and we saw the cute little lighthouse there. We saw this right here, and we don't know if this is ever open, or if it used to be a restaurant, or a gift shop, or if it was closed and seemed to be empty when we were there. Is it operate during the summer, or? It does? But it looked like nobody was there. This is in July. Or no, wherever it was Canada Day weekend. So.
It's a community center, and they hold events.
Oh, okay, it's a community center. We just weren't sure. Okay. But beautiful spot anyway. So I'm not slamming the community center at all. We just didn't know whether it was something for visitors or not. And we did come into Shelburne, and we thought that was great. One of the things I put here in these suggestions, by the way, is, sometimes the landscaping, we love landscaping there, and sometimes they'll tend to grow up and start to overshadow your sign. So some days you might have to go out there once a year and just cut them back. So we saw that, it was a great entrance to Shelburne. We saw this and we knew instantly what Shelburne was about, which was cool. And thought it was great. While we were there, now this is back at Liverpool, isn't it? Yeah. So, I don't know, I don't have that in the right order there. But we went back to Liverpool and we went to the 4 Point Lighthouse. And I got to tell you, it was beautiful. Matter of fact, my wife and I have had an argument over which is the best lighthouse in Nova Scotia. This one or Cape Doré. And they're both pretty spectacular. But this with the gardens and everything, I went, oh my gosh, that is stunning. I mean, we wanted to hang out there all day long, and particularly because it had washrooms. All your maps need to put washrooms on the map. Here's the soundbite for you to use. Relieved visitors spend more. It's true. It really is. It's the #1 reason people stop. And so it had, and they were spotless clean. That was cool that you could go up there and, do the foghorn, and it was just really great little gift shop. And I mean, the girls working there were really nice, beautiful landscaping. I mean, everything about it was great. And so we had to add that onto the list. We had to. It's just awesome. As a matter of fact, over the last 8 years, or particularly the last 7 years, we have assessed virtually every single bit of Nova Scotia. We've probably been in more places than you have. I mean, every little side road, every little peninsula, you name it, everywhere. Whether it's, I know, we've been out to the Balancing Rock out there, Digby Neck, we've been, all of the Annapolis Valley, the parks, Northumberland, Bay of Flanders, you name it. And so after all these years, we finally figured out, okay, we've been here enough that we're going to give you some lists. And one of those lists is the 10 best lighthouses in all of Nova Scotia. You want to know what they are? This is our view. But you know what? You got to start somewhere. And so this is our picks, and they are in alphabetical order, not by priority of what our favorites are. Annapolis Royal Lighthouse, Cape Doré, Cape Fortune, another one in your territory, Cape George on the Northumberland shore, Chebucto, Fort Point, Gilbert's Cove, you know where that is, Louisbourg, and Peggy's Cove. Now, there's some other spectacular. I'm not saying that's the only ones you should ever go see, but there's so many visitors say, well, I don't know if we have time to go see all 150 or however many you have. And by the way, these are the accessible ones. The ones that you can drive right up to and everything. And you got one of those. And I think it's awesome. Is that only done? Is there one more? Okay, Fort Pickford. Thank you. It's testing me. Good job. So, really, really great place there. So there you go, 10 best lighthouses. And by the way, we love this little neighborhood right there. Oh my gosh, where's it there? I want that house. No, I want that house. I want that house. And just really, really cute. Love the way these are all painted. They're about due for another coat of paint. But still just really cute and really charming. Just really a great little neighborhood. And we want to just hang out there all day. So you want to see another list?
Sure.
This is the top 10 must-see communities in Nova Scotia. By the way, when it comes to lighthouses, historic attractions, and communities, we did not include Halifax and Dartmouth. We wanted to do the things that are outside the metropolitan area. So you ready? Alphabetical order. #1, Annapolis Royal. Great place. Bear River. Isn't that awesome? Chester. Hard to beat it. I call it the Cape Cod of Nova Scotia. Guysborough. What they've done there, if you haven't been there for a while, is amazing what's going on there. Halls Harbor. You know why Halls Harbor is on there? How many of you have been to Halls Harbor? Well, there about a third of you. You know what's really cool? You can go to Halls Harbor. There's not much there. It's like, it's a little tiny marina. But you can go in there and pick out your lobster. I want that one. And then you take them out of the tank, and you put them in a wash bin. And you feel bad already, because he's live. And then luckily they take them away so I don't have to see them plopped into the boiling water. And then they bring you back your lobsters that you just bought. You go out there and sit on the deck and you can watch the lobster fishermen down in the docks. I see the game warden or whatever, you know, the fisheries person down there working with them. And then we can actually watch the tide drop. You know, it dumps in the Bay of Fundy. And you see the tide drops and the boats anchor down there in the mud and lean against. I mean, it was just a cool experience. Now remember, we're visitors, so you're going, that really excites you? You know, but for a visitor, it's cool. Lunenburg, of course. Mabou, great town. And you know what really makes it? Rich Club. Mahone Bay. Mahone Bay is what every community in Nova Scotia needs to aspire to. I'll bet you today, walking around there during the Scarecrow Festival this month, it was packed. It was last October. And how many other towns, including Nova Scotia, were packed today? See what I mean? I mean, they really do it right. Peggy's Cove, Oye County, how many is that? Is there another one?
Yes.
Wolfville. But you know, we also did some honorable mentions. And they would be Antigonish. They're really close to being there. Bedeck, one of the few places we could actually find a Cayley. Fort Point neighborhood in Liverpool. Now it's not retail and everything, but we just fell in love with that little neighborhood. LaHave, you know, and the reason it's on an honorable mention because it doesn't have quite the critical mass of light businesses there, but it has enough there that it's really a full place. Pugwash, Sherbrooke, Cattaraugus. I went through that quickly. I thought there was going to be another one. And so while we were out there, we did see the Queens County Museum. We did go through it. We thought it was pretty cool. And what was really cool about it was, I mean, first of all, I got all the homes and everything. But to make it interactive, you've probably been to it, was these. You've seen them, the ghost images that they project on screen. I thought that was pretty cool. It was kind of a fun thing. So we went through there, and the gal working there was great. And so while we're in the area, we decided, okay, let's check out Liverpool. Because it's our home base while we're here. Beautiful architecture and buildings in downtown. It almost made us want to cry. Because you know what? You can tell that it's economically. I don't know how many people the mill employed and everything, but you could just see the town. You're just going, oh my gosh, what can we do to help? How many people did employ? Anybody know?
About 400.
400, and all those jobs are gone. And what's that?
Plus the roof workers and all those guys in the truck house.
Yeah, so you have to understand everything that goes with that. And we just thought, boy, the architecture and everything downtown, we did go in this little gallery, and it goes, oh man, I hope you can make it. You know, because, you know, you have to have visitors, you got to have more to do. And that was about the only visitor-oriented retail shop that we saw in downtown Liverpool. That cared to us. But did a nice job there. I mean, just beautiful architecture everywhere. And by the way, they're doing construction. You know, you can see it right here. That's fine, no big deal. It was construction season. But we just thought, wow, oh my gosh, I hope this makes it because it is really cool. Really a beautiful downtown. We did see this right here, just nicely done with the landscaping and everything, and that's the power of curb appeal. We did see the Astor Theater right there. One of the challenges we had with the Astor Theater is we're trying to figure out when and where your upcoming performances. So what I want you to do is go to Chester, go to the Chester Playhouse and see what they did. Right outside their door, they have calendars in there that tell you what's upcoming. When you say, here's what's coming up, you know what it is? It's an invitation to come back. And that's what you need to do. Always create invitations to come back. But what we saw was that theater, but nothing that said when or if anything's going on there. We did go in the photography museum because I came from a family of photographers. And so we did go in there. We went through the whole museum. And, you know, one of the challenges, you know, I was interested in it because I'm a photographer. My wife was a little bit bored. And the challenge is, by the way, if you're working in museums and stuff, words to avoid, collections, artifacts, you know, things that sound boring. And by the way, and I didn't think it was boring at all. But, you know, what happens is, with a lot of museums that are really static, once we've been there, we've done it. And that was a challenge of Liverpool because what you had there was pretty static, and so we've been there, we've done it. And by the way, we have no idea why Liverpool is charging for parking. Why? I mean, you know, we were downtown in the middle of the summer, in the middle of the day, and, you know, like, we were the only car down there. And so I think, you know, I think you could probably cover these up for now until downtown starts to thrive again. But, by the way, do you even enforce the parking in Liverpool? You do? We paid, but we've got, I mean, we could have just parked down the hill, you know what I mean? I think that's free down there, isn't it? And I'm going, why are you doing this? So, just our thoughts. These are just suggestions. But I just thought, is this really necessary when we're like, you know, the only people walking up and down the street in downtown? So, here's one thing we noticed. Your towns need a focus. Liverpool, Shelburne, and I'm going to get Shelburne. We could go up to Yarmouth and everything. And so, I want to take a little side trip. This is what's happening when towns are looking for their second act. 90% of the Canadian population has immediate access to the internet, whether it's on cell phones, tablets, at home, at work, at school, laptops, you name it, 90%. And out of that group, 94% use the internet to decide where they're going to open a business, where they're going to live, where they're going to go visit for the weekend. They use the internet, 94%. And you know what? Liverpool is just as easily accessible as Halifax or anybody else in the Atlantic provinces. 94%. Every community, every destination is our fingertips in a fraction of a second, and we're looking for experiences. I might type in B&Bs in Liverpool. I might type in job opportunities, Nova Scotia Southern Shore. I might type in best restaurant in the Bridgewater area. I might type in horseback riding in the Liverpool area. But you notice what happens when we go to the internet? We never type in the city first. We always type in what we're looking for and then the general location second. Quit marketing counties, cities, and towns. So what do you stand for? So that when we type in antique shop, best antique shopping on the Southwest Shore, what's going to show up? That's what we're looking for. What's your focus, Liverpool? What's your focus, Shelburne? What's your focus, you know, Yarmouth? I'll tell them that in the morning. And so that's what we do. We never type in, have you ever said, gee, I wonder what's going on in Chester this weekend? And do you type in Chester, Nova Scotia, and then see what pops up on the web? No! You type in whatever it is you're looking for, and then the general location. That's what you have to understand. So the days of marketing, cities, counties, even regions. The regions for Nova Scotia, I think, are very important to get people to work together. Have you ever gone anywhere because it was a county or a region? You don't. You go where there's something for you, whether it's art, music, Kaylee's, festivals, where there's something for you. So, we're not looking for your community. Get over it. Told you I'm harsh. There you go. We're drowning in marketing and advertising overload. Did you know that we are exposed to 5,000 marketing messages a day? Whether it's on license plate frames. Well, you know what? Take any exit off of 103 and you get 4,000 right there, all those signs. I'm just kidding. It's only about 500. That's what it feels like. 5,000. Television, radio, brochures, you name it, a day. You know what we do? We now filter out anything that doesn't cater to us specially. So if we like equestrian, and somebody pops up and says, we are the equestrian capital of Nova Scotia, you know what? If I'm mentioning that, it's going to, I'm going to go, wait, what was that? And it's going to catch her. But when you say, we're Liverpool, we have something for everyone. Have you ever gone anywhere that had something for everyone? No. We go where there's something for us. If you hope to be the destination shore, what do you have that people are hoping to attract can't get or do closer to home? That's what you have to answer. Because we have it at our fingertips in seconds. What sets you apart from everyone else? I mean, why should we, look, this thing is driving me nuts. Yeah? Why should they invest in your community? Why should they move there? Why should they visit you? Whatever it is that makes you different or better. By the way, every place in Nova Scotia has fishing, Acadian culture. I mean, you can go to Shetty Camp, you can go to Lower Publico, you can go to all these places. Everybody has shorelines. You're in Nova Scotia. And what you're doing is you're marketing, so no wonder visitors come here and go, now what do we do? And and they never get past Peggy's Cove. So what? Here's what you need to know. This is the art of branding a community. By the way, branding is not about logos and slogans. Have you ever gone anywhere? Have you ever said, man, I really want to head up to Ecom Seacom because they have a really cool logo? Or have you ever said, you know what, I really don't want to go to Yarmouth because I think their logo sucks? We don't. It doesn't matter. And by the way, I have no idea what Yarmouth's logo looks like. But I'm just, we don't, so this is not about logos and slogans. That's not what a brand is. Number two, they're just marketing messages used to support and reinforce your brand. It's a perception of what people think you say. Oh, I'm from Liverpool. Or I'm from Shelburne. Or I'm from, whatever. What is the perception people have of you? That is your brand. I think I wasn't the first one that say that Chester they thought was Cape Cod. Chester didn't say we're Canada's Cape Cod, but that's the perception people have of them. They might as well just use it. And it comes from visual cues, people and attitudes, word of mouth. You know what I told people what I said this morning in Bridgewater? And by the way, then social media. By the way, branding works really fast now with this, social media. And so I thought, in Bridgewater, I said, you know what? You're probably not going to ever be recognized as a real tourist center like Mahone Bay or Bloomberg or those. But there's nothing wrong with being a provisioning headquarters for the South Shore experience. Because you know what? I actually went into Staples. I needed something. And whether it's Walmart, whether it's all the big boxes, it's okay. It has a place. You know what? The bottom line is, we need people to spend money here. So it's okay. So what is your brand? Sometimes we have a negative brand that means we need repositioning. I used to say that about Windsor. That it really needed, because people had kind of a negative connotation about it. And mainly from the visual cues. It's also a promise that whatever that perception is, you'll deliver on it. And number three, successful brands have a narrow focus. Look at this. Discover the wide open spaces, graceful people, picturesque landscapes that characterizes Northfield, Nova Scotia. How many of you have been to Northfield? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What were you doing out there? What's that?
There's a typo.
Did I spell it wrong?
Nova Scotia.
Oh, did I? Yeah. I did that just this afternoon. This is what happens. I'm starting to get doozies. Each season holds a promise of new adventure and incredible memory. Come join us in Northfield and discover the scenic and recreational opportunities waiting you. Seeing that, how many of you would not make a special trip there? Is there anything in that sentence, that quote right there, besides the typo, that would make you want to go there? Is there anything there that you can't already do closer to home right here? But you know what? That wasn't even written for Northfield. That was written for Nelson, British Columbia. Here's the point. If I go on your website, grab one of your brochures, I read your introductory text, I can take out the name of your town or wherever it is and put something else that still rings true, you just lost a sale. Guess what? 97% of community-based marketing is ineffective. Because you're saying what everybody else is saying, and I've seen it all over this province. You cannot be all things to all people. You must find your niche and promote it like crazy. Jettison the generic.